Conquest of the Planet of the Apes has a really good premise. I do really like this film. I think it's. I mean, I'm fond of Beneath, Escape, and Conquest. Battle's the only one of the sequels where I have to hesitate on, at least as an adult. But with Conquest, well, here's the thing about Conquest. It's. I sometimes feel like Conquest is never quite what you want. It's more than the sum of its parts, because you're always sort of hoping it escalates and becomes more than it is when you're watching it, but by the time you're finished, or at least I feel as though I've had a great time once it's over, and I admire it as a total work, although I don't know if there's really too many crescendos in there. And I'm talking about sort of the final act of the film, which is you come away from the film and you, not having watched it for a couple of years, you think that's more of the film than it is, because that's the most memorable component of the film. But I do kind of like the reveal of the world in the earlier portions of the film. The Conquest, it's not a perfect movie. I mean, the movie's perfect. I don't know, there's probably maybe a dozen at most, maybe, but you know, my thing with Conquest is, I don't know, the world doesn't make too much sense to me, and I to the point where I do find it a little bit distracting. I mean, let's move past the fact that the convenience of a plague that wipes out not only dogs but also cats. I mean, and then, like, people couldn't just go to rabbits and guinea pigs and parrots; they had to go to apes. I mean, I whatever. That's fine. I'll accept that. Fine. Like, it's just weird to me how, like, the whole world revolves around, like, ape slavery now. You know, like, it's so strange. Like, to the point where there's a brief scene where humans are protesting that they can't get work anymore because they're just having ape slaves do it all. I mean, it's so bizarre. I used to at one time think that this movie had sort of so-so sets. It was actually very brutalist architecture that they're filming amongst. Maybe some of the interior sets, but the exteriors, those aren't on a lot. It's a brutalist neighborhood or industrial area in LA, I guess. And I ought to say, this movie did not look that great in standard def. With HD, the whole thing looks a lot better, and my estimation of its production values considerably improved after seeing a Blu-ray copy of Conquest of the Planet of the Apes. I will say that much. Although I wish its nighttime sequences were, I don't think they're as vivid and visceral as they could be. It's still a bit obscured. It might have, dare I say, it might have worked in the cinema, enclosed in the image so large, you can make out everything a bit better. But even if just minimal lighting in the scene, but at home, even watching it on just a standard widescreen, Hisense is what's in front of me now, television, even at night, you're struggling to make out everything. And I can imagine it being immersive in a cinema screen back in 1972, or probably even now if someone did a retrospective screening of it. But all the same, I think it could have been better. The lighting of the riot sequences at the end, the uprising scenes. It's a very impressive film in a lot of respects, and there's a lot of great iconic imagery in there. It's very watchable. Maybe the middle act, it's a little bit slow, but no, I'm fond of it for sure. Oh, I should say, so I, like everyone else, saw the original ending for years. Now when you get a Blu-ray copy of this film, they've added and by the original ending I mean the theatrically released ending, the ending that was shown for the test screenings that they replaced, that's on all the Blu-rays now by default, whether it says it's an unrated copy or not. And well, I'm in one of two minds about that. I'm used to the original ending, and I don't think it was that tonally out of place, because it seemed to make sense that, he had a bond with that character Lisa, and then when Lisa said no, he sort of reflected on whether he should or shouldn't and maybe perhaps realizing that the apes are willing to listen to him, perhaps he ought to exercise that and like sort of, because he knew there was a good human at least in Armando, and he maybe have had some idea of the kind of people, or he didn't really have an idea of who his parents were, but necessarily that's actually explored slightly in Battle. But well, the thing is, Caesar's, it didn't seem out of place for me to Caesar sort of snap out of his rage and say, we're not relenting from taking over, like we're not going to live in peace with you, but we don't have to kill, you're our prisoners, we're not going to kill, there's ways to take that. I didn't think it seemed out of place, especially knowing that Battle's right afterward. I've always known it as movie 4 or 5, so that ending, obviously the planned ending's just not congruent with the existence of Battle of the Planet of the Apes, for better or for worse. And so if you want to see this in conjunction with Battle, the theatrical ending is better. Although I suspect, I kind of feel as though it makes the film feel more complete. I mean, yeah, there is a part of me that somewhat likes the idea of this being a 4-part series rather than a 5-part series, and if that's the case, then Conquest's planned ending makes more sense than the one to lead into a battle for the Planet of the Apes. I'm not sure. I could go either way. I do like all the added violence and such. It adds to the impact and the sort of scariness and the intensity of everything. So I don't mind all of that. You could have kept all of that and have the original ending, as in the theatrical cut ending, and I would have been fine with that. As it stands, though, I don't know, still in one of two minds on it. Still, I have a ball when I watch it, in spite of its flaws.